You know, I'd never read Frankenstein, despite the fact that I've been a spooky kid for as long as I can remember. But like a lot of people, I feel like this story has just sort of always been in the public consciousness. We know the beat. Victor's obsessed with creation, the monster's misunderstood, society makes rash assumptions, people get hurt. So like a lot of people, I feel like I went into this movie just sort of knowing the idea of what Frankenstein is, but being significantly more familiar with Guillermo del Toro's work as a whole, like his love of Frankenstein and obviously like Pinocchio and stuff, but like this singular story. So today I'm gonna cover Guillermo del Toro's 2025 creation, Frankenstein. This is your future. How will you dress it? This version of Frankenstein sees Del Toro paired with his previous collaborator on Crimson Peak and Pacific Rim, Kate Hawley. If any of you watching this know me, you know how much I love the costumes in Crimson Peak. They are some of the most like beautifully, intricately made, awe-inspiring costumes I've ever seen in a movie. And I went to the At Home with Monsters exhibit so many times with my good camera, like specifically to take close-up photos, because I had never been to an exhibit where you could actually take your camera and like get up in it. Every single piece has intention and thought behind it. So this movie was no different. The color symbolism, as well as the incorporation of prints and textures, really made people go back and watch it multiple times. And that's what I mean when I say that like utilizing costume design for world building and storytelling is so important. This movie starts with the men of the ship Horizon. Their costumes look like they're believably in frigid temperatures. It reminds me of when my dad would come home from training for marathons in Minnesota weather with icicles in his beard. The whole time I watched it, I wondered how they got such believable texture of snow on wool in a place that was probably not that cold. When we see Victor for the first time, he's sprawled on the snow in furs, similar to what we see the creature wearing when he's introduced. The way he's laid out is similar in angle and composition to his brother William in a bed next to Victor as a child, and Elizabeth's final scene, which I'll talk about later. He's disheveled and injured. They discover that he has an ornate prosthetic leg. Just then, the monster screams from over the horizon. The men that rescue Victor are wearing clothes that look like they smell bad, which is, you know, my favorite thing. That means that they took the time and energy to age it believably instead of just like studio aging. It looks like they've been wearing them for weeks or months in real life. They look legitimately worn, not studio aged. When the creature arrives, he's enveloped in gnarly furs. He looks imposing and scary, like some sort of mythical beast. He attacks everybody and throws them around like they're nothing. His feet are wrapped in fabric because I'm sure he couldn't scavenge shoes his size off of dead soldiers. We don't see his face, and that's not even the scariest part. He's just huge, and like his body, his clothing is cobbled together. As the movie begins in earnest, we're introduced to Victor's mother, Claire. Entering into the Frankenstein home, there are a lot of beautiful and slightly eerie costume choices. All of the women are veiled. The men are all in military uniforms. They are faceless and homogeneous in different ways, gendered ways, but they're all furniture. The maids have opaque white veils and white hats, while Claire is wearing head to toe red. Her face is obscured, but it's visible. It's incredibly striking and also incredibly delicate. Her veil flows like water. Young Victor is dressed in a beautiful little suit. The scene composition and colors remind me of the movie The Fall, which, if you haven't seen it, is just like a visual treat. Victor's father, the Baron, is wearing a very intricately designed uniform with a large bicorn hat, loads of embellishments. There's writing on the collar, which I'm pretty sure is Latin, and like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I do want to let you know that I wrote all of these notes before I had the chance to do any like deep dive research. So this first part is just kind of my initial gut thoughts. It's important to point out that Claire is also played by Mia Goth, who later plays Elizabeth, the love interest. It shows that his mother was the most important person to him, and after she's gone, he likens anything important to this one important thing, his mom. Red is love, passion, blood, life. With the exception of Claire coming to Victor in the night wearing white, she only wears red. So later when she dies, we always see Victor wearing red unless he's in a scene with Elizabeth, and then she's wearing a little bit of red, usually in the form of a rosary. Also, I found out that that was like, I think they said it was Czech porcelain. I thought it was coral. Anyway, super cool. When Claire goes into labor, Victor's wearing all white. She puts her hand on him and leaves a bloody handprint. We see her in a Fisk coffin surrounded by red and enveloped in ivory white stone.
You'll be ecstatic to know that these were real. They were the Fisk metallic burial cases, patented in 1848 by Armand Dunbar Fisk in Rhode Island. This was a very American thing, and this is the original patent. Due to the rise of modern embalming and a changing in taste, and due to the high costs, the Fisk coffin eventually fell out of fashion.
Victor puts her face mask on, and as he walks away, he's wearing a red neckerchief with a ring knotted on it. He's wearing a similar cloak to his dad with the Latin on the collar. At the funeral, all the female servants are again wearing veils that you can't see their faces, but this time they're holding white lilies, which is a flower associated with purity, rebirth, hope, and funerals. There's a scene that really got me when I first watched this movie where Victor's dad is quizzing him. He's holding this like little ivory body model of a pregnant person. Victor's drinking milk while his dad is quizzing him about bodies and emotion. And his dad says, ivory doesn't bleed, but flesh does. Throughout the movie, Victor only drinks milk. And I'll get to this. Oh my God, as I'm writing this, I'm looking up what the script on the collar says, and I'm just now realizing that young Victor is played by Christian Convery? Sweet little Gus from Sweet Tooth, which is literally one of my favorite shows. I don't know how I didn't notice this. That kid is a chameleon. Oh my gosh, I might be the stupidest person alive. Anyway, it says verus e fidelis, which is Latin for true and faithful, and I don't know how to speak Latin, so there you go. Enjoy my terrible pronunciation. Victor's little brother is a sweet ball of sunshine. When he's introduced, he's wearing a very stereotypical little boy blue. His outfit is age appropriate and it's very little boy, where Victor dresses like a tiny man. William reminds me a lot of the painting Boy Blue. Lots of fussy little details and lace and buttons. He's wearing soft fabrics like velvet and satin. All clues for the audience that he is doted on and treated differently than Victor. Victor doesn't seem to have anything against his brother at all for any of the misfortune or ill relationship he has with his dad. It's the bare minimum, considering he isn't very good at having feelings for anyone. He views people through what they can do for him. He has a lot of resentment, a lot of righteous anger, but none of that really seems to be aimed at his brother specifically. At one point, a dark, fiery red angel comes to him in a dream. He's clasping the red bedspread he shares with his little brother to his chest, but just the corner. His brother is asleep in all white with a large swath of the red bedspread draped over him in the same composition as what we later see with Elizabeth. Imagine it. Little William is wearing a beautiful little white outfit at the funeral. Similarly, yet more ornate to what Victor was wearing when his mom died. The two of them wearing all white during these traumatic events with the parent that loved them most seems purposeful. He's also wearing the same kind of black cloak as his dad and his brother. William is pure. He's a sweet boy, and he continues to be a sweet boy throughout. Even as a man, he's just sweet. He's just kind. Victor, as an adult, we see him dress very similarly to how he dressed as a child. To me, it looked like he was playing adult as a kid, and now he's doing the kid's idea of what an adult is as an adult. I feel like it just shows how he's an emotionally stunted man. He's wearing a black vest and black pants with a disheveled white shirt and his red neckerchief. Heinrich Harlander, his future benefactor, walks in while he's doing his lecture. He's wearing the most amazing shoes with gold soles and heels. He's carrying an ornate cane, which is usually at the forefront of any scene that he's in. So that type of shot is like, oh, well, we need to pay attention to this cane for later. Just so, yeah, remember it because it's an important accessory. I also want to point out how many beautiful pairs of gloves are in this movie. Heinrich is wearing the most beautiful mustard yellow gloves. And later Victor is wearing these amazing like red leather gloves that look so soft. And I love these kinds of little details. Victor's wearing a jaunty little asymmetrical hat that is phenomenal as he walks through the alley. It's super gross. Again, it looks like it smells terrible. We see him look to the side at some bottles of milk, but he holds himself back. He does not drink the milk. He resists. Heinrich, dressed head to toe in beautiful blue, jumps over a river of blood with his fancy little gold shoes. When we get to the memento mori scene, it's both one of my favorite and also one of the most frustrating scenes. Not because of a directorial thing, but because of a symptom of kind of the downfall of cinema due to streaming. This still life is beautiful and it looks like a painting. I love memento mori imagery so much so that I've done a few collections that are inspired by it. The model is absolutely beautiful. How she's dressed is amazing. Between the drapey sheer and the headpiece, she's just so cute. Her interaction with Heinrich is so funny. And I'm taken out of the entire scene when he explains what a memento mori is. It feels like it's just there for the audience. It's on the nose for the people who aren't paying attention.
And you bite into it.
Like, people back then would have known what it was, or he would have had a conversation with the model beforehand to give her direction. It felt clunky. Like, it felt like it was for a streaming audience that's looking at their phone, and I'm just a little bit tired of being punished for being one of the people that's paying attention to the movie or willing to go back because I missed something. It felt like a commencement speech where they're like, Webster's dictionary defines memento mori as... Anyway, it's incredibly frustrating. I'm glad that girl kept eating peaches though, because she earned them. She looked super cute, and I think my favorite thing about her was just that she looked normal. She didn't look like a model. She didn't look like she knew what an iPhone was. She didn't look like she would be in a fashion magazine. She was just a cute person being a life model. The way she was styled in gauze was so lovely, accentuated all of the best parts of her. I know she was posing for photos, but she looked like a neoclassical painting, and I loved her. She was so beautiful and so cute, and she looked like she would be friends with everybody. We meet Victor's little brother, William, as an adult, and he's got cute little lacy cuffs like he did when he was a little boy. He's put together, clearly dressed with good etiquette. Now, I've absolutely talked way too much about the initial things that we see when we first start watching, but I know we all just want to talk about what Elizabeth wears throughout the movie. So let's do it. Despite my attempt at drawing my own conclusions from the obvious things like the green dress looking like it's made of malachite, I definitely saw a lot of photo breakdowns of what imagery is incorporated into her dresses, such as brain scans and marbling. Thank you, Instagram, and the fact that I follow a lot of costumers. So many of these symmetrical textiles remind me of the art of Christopher Marley. He's an artist who ethically sources insects and small animals to make beautiful symmetrical art. He had an exceptional exhibit here at our local science museum, and the imagery has really stuck with me. We're introduced to Elizabeth, William's fiance, and she's wearing a striking blue dress. You know the one. And she's got the big feather headband and the amazing Tiffany scarab necklace, and she has split sleeves that give her this angelic look, and it's gauzy and beautiful, like a blue morpho butterfly. Her clothing all seems very structured yet delicate, and to me as the viewer, this seems like it's meant to signify how Victor sees her versus how she sees herself.
What would such a delicate, pious creature have to confess to?
This later comes up in my thought process when he seems to liken her to a butterfly, where she seems to associate herself with beetles. She talks about how butterflies have white blood and he's always drinking milk, and it seems like he wants to consume her. We see red blood coming from the creature and Elizabeth. She's a woman wearing white like ivory, which isn't supposed to bleed, and the creature looks like he's made of ivory and he definitely bleeds. Later, she's wearing a sheer yellow overdress over another stone print. They trap the butterfly together, a butterfly the same color as her dress. That's definitely what Victor wants to do with her, and he's intrigued by her because she's beautiful and smart. He wants to just trap her. He doesn't care that she's in a relationship with his brother. In the scene where she's wearing that iconic green malachite dress, she's also playing with beetles. I figured the juxtaposition of malachite being toxic and beetles being armored was really showing who she is. Not a butterfly, not something delicate, something that can protect herself. When she meets the creature for the first time, she's wearing a veil that's very similar to what Claire was wearing, like really big but very see-through. Her riding outfit is an acid chartreuse. The jacket looks like paint marbling or oil on water, and to me it looks like it mimics the incisions composing the creature's musculature. And again, we have excellent gloves. Her sheer teal gloves match her beautiful veil and tassels. The creature removes them so delicately because he's also observing everything. He observes things in a similar way to the way she does, but more like a toddler learning fine motor skills. She's instantly protective of him, and I think the monster crowd would definitely see it as sensual, but I see it as a maternal protection. So even later, when he's asking for a companion, he doesn't ask for a lover. He could have chosen her and he chooses not to, like not in that way. And I think because he would have wanted her to consent to it, and even though she asked him to take her with him, he didn't want to make a choice for her. I think that's beautiful. Her nightgown is another hit for a designer Holly. It's sheer and elegant, and it reminds me of the sheer outfit that the model was wearing in the Memento Mori photo set. It's a little bit of sensuality, but not an after dark kind of way. More in a vulnerability type of way, like when something sheds its skin or its shell. It also has that bit of 70s gothic film like Suspiria or The Blood-Spattered Bride.
Esperaron 2 años antes de darle sepultura, pero jamás consiguieron hacerle soltar el puñal.
She's gifted a leaf by the creature. When she meets up with Victor after, he's wearing the same poisonous green that she was wearing in the malachite dress, but it's lined with red. Is this a way to keep himself protected from her? There's also a weird scene where there's a lot of like, I don't know if it's dominance tension or sexual tension, but Heinrich is using the facilities and Victor is wearing head to toe red. It's one of the few times Victor is put in his place. So like, there was chemistry between Victor and Henry, right? Like, I kind of wish Heinrich had called him my dear Frankenstein all the time, like Henry does in the book, but it wasn't needed because like, they were just kind of like always in each other's space and looking at each other and reaching around each other. Like William and Elizabeth love each other, but their relationship happens off screen and they seem to have similar energy to each other. So I can believe that they would be together and like each other. And she doesn't seem to be romantically interested in Victor the way he is in her. She seems to be analyzing him back. And I think he's confusing fascination with lust. None of how he feels about her presents as romantic in a normal way. And I think they're both just studying each other. When she comes back in to bring the butterfly, she's wearing all red and the blue brain scan cloak. She's touching the spine of the creature and it perfectly lines up with the spine on her red dress. He's conflating her with his creation and he wants to own them both. He takes it personally that they aren't exactly the thing he thinks they should be.
Multiple eyes, white blood, and a fascinating lack of choice.
I don't understand.
Choice is the seat of the soul. The one gift God granted us.
A little construction note, it absolutely makes sense that Heinrich's shirt would rip when he falls into the pit because the seams would have likely not been machine sewed. They probably would have been sewn by hand.
Oh, look at me!
The first commercial sewing machines were created within this time frame, but they weren't widely available. Victor wakes from a nightmare about the Dark Angel wearing the red gloves when he wakes up covered in the red duvet. This is when we officially meet the creature. He's wrapped in bandages, his face is covered, he's mirroring Victor's movements. He shows him the sun and just says sun. Without the subtitles, it could also be sun with an O. He tells him the sun gives life, and then he locks the creature in the darkness. When he takes the creature downstairs, he's being gentle with him and he wraps him in the red duvet. And it hurts my heart because so much of his movement and reactions were like a toddler. Like, I watched this with my husband and he had to stop it halfway through because he was so sad and he went into the other room and just like pet our son. The creature is a baby and Victor eventually loses interest because he doesn't grow and learn fast enough. He isn't exactly what he wanted, so he loses interest, abandons him. As he's telling his story to the captain, he's like an "am I the a-hole" Redditor, and he tries to make the audience side with him and feel sympathy. When the creature starts telling his tale, in his flashbacks he's wearing the cloak of a fallen soldier. He learns from observing hunters that attack him and peasants in a house he hides beneath. Their clothes look believably homespun. They don't stand out in any way. They just look simple and they do their job. The creature tries to secretly endear himself to them and just wants to help. He hasn't been sullied, he just wants to do what comes naturally. Be good. Let's get to the wedding. Victor's wearing his prosthetic from his terrible choice of burning down his stupid lab in a ridiculous tantrum and then regretting it. And I didn't mention that because I don't care. Elizabeth is wearing a stunning white dress. Her sleeves and bodice are wrapped in an homage to the Bride of Frankenstein. The bodice is reminiscent of the chest piece in Victor's Monster Maker machine. Victor is not wearing red. Elizabeth still has her leaf. William is wearing the most beautiful, delicate, elegant silk suit. The women are all in veils and similar headpieces to the ones that Elizabeth wore early in the movie. Elizabeth's sheer overlay on her sleeves float like water, just like the creature when he falls through the ice, like the laboratory tower being emblazoned with water as life in Latin, just like the red veil worn by Victor's mother. Del Toro clearly has immense feelings about water. Victor is so angry and jealous that he tries to shoot the creature and ends up shooting Elizabeth. With what little strength she has, she's bleeding into her beautiful white dress. She asks the creature to take her with him. While he's carrying her, she's no longer wearing the hoop skirt. This is definitely a design choice and not a continuity error. It would look really, really, really bad if they had just said, here, you carry her with this giant hoop skirt. It would have looked weird. It would have absolutely wrecked it. So design choice versus continuity error. The creature takes Elizabeth downstairs in what feels like a pantomime, an impersonation of a groom walking with his bride while her fiance bleeds out upstairs. It was an accident caused by Victor's continued lies. And in the end, William is angry with Victor. He finally says he's scared of him, and in another instance that I am irritated by, he says flat out,
You are the monster.
everyone knows he's the monster and has since the story was created. Everyone knows Victor sucks. The audience doesn't need hand-holding. We don't need to be told the moral with words. It can be inferred. The exact same feeling could have been evoked if he had said everything he had just said and not said the last line. The creature lays Elizabeth down on a rock and she lets the creature know that she's felt seen. To be seen is to be loved. And it's really sad that she died. She's given her own death. He doesn't take her or demand Victor turn her into something like himself. Her stark white dress is coated in blood coming from her stomach, just like the red comforter was on William when they slept and he had nightmares. As Victor chases the monster, he's wearing a black coat, a white shirt with blood on his hands, just like when his mother died. And oh my God, the line where the creature says, oh, it gives me chills. I got chills right now.
You may be my creator, but from this day forward, I will be your master.
Is wild. I love that line so much. Anyway, then they continue to Tom and Jerry all over the place leading up to the beginning of the movie. Victor is forced to listen to the monster and forced to come to terms with what he did. He has the audacity to ask for forgiveness. The creature takes a lesson from the old man who helped him learn and grants him forgiveness before he dies, because the creature is better and stronger than me. After a second viewing of the movie, I decided to listen to the audiobook, and my God, is it beautifully written. I'm angry with myself for not reading the book before now, and one of the things I appreciate about the creature is how he's designed, is that he does look like he's put together what he's wearing himself. In the book, he's described as getting clothes off fallen soldiers, and it would make sense that in the cold, he would be getting clothes off of animals or fallen shipmen. He's wearing a lot of furs for cold weather. We don't know how his body works, but since he gets hungry, it would make sense that he also gets cold. So just because he can heal doesn't mean he wouldn't seek comfort. As far as the time frame that the movie takes place, it's the 1850s. As a child, the clothing looks quite a bit further back in history, and I wonder if this is just a visual marker, like a representation of the time in which it takes place in the book, because it was written in 1816, but it takes place in the 1700s. Del Toro wanted to place it a bit more into the future so that any technology that he wanted to play with could potentially make sense. And unlike the Wuthering Heights movie that's coming out, where all bets are off and they're just doing whatever, this feels like it's playing with the timeline in more of an Anna Karenina kind of way. Like it's supposed to evoke a feeling while visually representing the time in which it takes place and making nods to times that are also being referenced. The creature is described as being made of all of the most beautiful parts, and he looks like a monster because of all the things that are wrong, like his black lips and his eyes. I think they did a great job with the prosthetics and casting Jacob Elordi as the creature. He's so beautiful and also incorrect looking. It's very striking to have his one shining eye like a cataract, and the same in the photo that Heinrich takes of him. After my third viewing, I decided to watch the behind the scenes, finally, to see if my conclusions matched up with their intentions. And you guys know I love a behind the scenes thing. I want just all of it, give it to me. In the notes I took while watching it in the theater, I decided that this movie was What If Rashomon but Frankenstein, and I love that that was purposeful. I know I said before that it's like an unreliable Reddit narrator, and yeah, I guess that's what Rashomon is, isn't it? Oh my gosh, you guys, did you know that there's a Dracula movie by Luc Besson coming out next year? And it stars Christoph Waltz, the guy who plays Heinrich.
This man is the devil. Mina's in danger. Repent for your salvation.
It looks hokey as fuck, and I can't wait to review the costumes. It looks bad. Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors. His work, his artistic philosophy, his love of other creators, and how excited he gets about creating his own work. He definitely created this movie as a love letter to a piece of media that really shaped who he is as a person. We all dream of getting to work on that fantasy project. So many of us have those pieces of formative works that just build who we are. Mine are Return to Oz and Alice in Wonderland. I got married in front of the Alice in Wonderland statue in New York. I have Alice tattoos and have done several Alice themed collections. I did a collection based on post-apocalyptic Return to Oz, which was pretty sweet. You can see Frankenstein and Pinocchio through all of Del Toro's work. Through his collections, whether in books or in person, like the exhibit at Home with Monsters. It's really cute that he and Mike Hill have such an adorable Frankenstein fangirl friendship. Everybody needs that creative cheerleader friend that tells you to make all the decisions about the things you love. My runway friend Christopher is my doll friend, and my collaborators Megan and Christina are my fashion friends. And we're all the better for it, I think, because we push each other to do the things that we know make us happy. And these two obviously have a beautiful relationship, creating beautiful monsters. Getting to their color story, green is for Elizabeth, blue is for William, Baron Frankenstein and Heinrich, red is for Claire and Victor. It's intriguing to look at how they created the prosthetics on the design of the monster. I'm in awe of the fact that they have a board with different kinds of surgical stitches the way they would have a board of sewing stitches. It's really cool. The coat is a blue military coat from a fallen Crimean soldier, and they incorporate bones into the structure of it. There's a visible spine on the back. It's brilliant and a surprise for people who are looking for it, like right when the light catches it. The chartreuse dress was in fact paint marbling, which is so cool. Marbled velvet. I couldn't believe it. That's definitely something you see on the inside of old books, that pattern. That's an interesting thing to do for someone who is so well read. You should absolutely watch the special if you haven't, because I don't want to just like give it beat for beat when it's right there and you can watch it. There's so much interesting insight into the design rules and such. One thing I do want to talk about that isn't about the costume design is the lighting and set design, something I absolutely love to delve into and pick apart. Del Toro has such a maximalist style, and he always employs such intricate set designers. One of the things I noticed how refreshing it was to be able to see everything in the dark scenes. And I'll go into movies and I can't see everything, and I'll watch it at home and I have to turn up the backlight on my TV, or I have to watch it at night and make sure there's no glare on the TV. And watching this, I could see all the details of everything because of how well lit it was. Like, it reminded me of Shogun, which if you haven't seen it, you should. There's a scene where they're in a boat and it changes the time of day and you can still always see what's happening, but the lighting changes. Besides being an absolutely fantastic show and stunning, the lighting is amazing. I didn't know where to put this, but I like that when Victor's a kid, he's sitting in front of a fireplace and there's a face carved in the fireplace of a woman looking over his shoulder. And then when he's in the lab, there's an even bigger face carved on the wall and it's also looking over his shoulder. And I just thought that was really thoughtful set design. Not going to delve too deeply into it, but I did end up watching Frankenstein 1931.
So far, he's been kept in complete darkness. Wait till I bring him into the light.
And Bride of Frankenstein 1935.
Never. Nothing can make me go on with it.
The night dress and sheer robe that Elizabeth is wearing in Bride of Frankenstein after she finds out Dr. Frankenstein is alive may have inspired several parts of the wedding dress in Del Toro's version. Non-costume rabbit hole time. Heinrich is the name of the benefactor in this version of Frankenstein and also the name of Dr. Frankenstein in the Boris Karloff version. Henry is the name of Victor's best friend in the book. Is Heinrich an homage to the Boris Karloff films, or is he a replacement for Henry? Or is it a swap? In the 1931 films, his best friend's name is Victor. Why can't I stop thinking about this? For the most part, the pacing was nice, and where it wasn't, I know it's a problem we get with streaming services having access to final edits. The two-screen watchability has a tendency to interrupt flow, and I like how they expanded Elizabeth's character from being an adopted child who becomes a fiancé to a fiancé that has her own relationship off-screen, is more fleshed out than his own brother. There's the opportunity to turn her into the creature's companion, but he leaves her alone. She makes the choice to go with him, and all of it could have been viewed as either romantic or platonic, but the interactions between her and the creature are consensual. Victor wants her as a prize, and when she turns him down, he's no longer interested in the way he was. When things cease to be of use to him, he moves on. He forgot that Heinrich died until he was reminded by William and Elizabeth. He had served this purpose.
Is my uncle here?
What?
My uncle, is he here?
The changes Del Toro made worked for the story he wanted to tell, and the ending still echoes the source material. The movie reminds me of a review I read years ago of Howl's Moving Castle's anime adaptation that for every subplot that was removed, 2 were added. What stood out most to me was how much love went into this film, and you can feel how deeply Guillermo del Toro cares for this story. The few things that bothered me felt like a result of outside interference, the kind of thing that happens when a project means so much to its creator. It's a beautiful movie full of care, faithful in a bunch of ways, yet modernized by pushing the setting slightly into the future. It reframes the themes in a fresh way that fits the narrative well. But I also think the places where it lacks are where it just isn't Pan's Labyrinth or it isn't Crimson Peak. Weird movies that he just made or nobody was interfering. It almost feels like the more success you have, the more people want to meddle in your art. Like I keep saying, there hasn't been enough art, and we need the most support for real art and not content that we can get. Watching movies and shows like this gives me that weird sense of cozy melancholy. And I'm glad we're in a decadent monster era right now. I know I didn't get around to reviewing them, but I loved Nosferatu and Sinners so much. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about female-led Frankenstein projects. Next spring, we have The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, which looks to be a Bonnie and Clyde take on The Bride of Frankenstein.
What's my name? I can't remember.
And if you haven't watched Lisa Frankenstein by Diablo Cody, it's really fun and it's super cute. And I got to see a screening of it back when it came out. It was really funny. Just, it's cute. If you want to see something cute and funny, just watch it.
I have the cure. Oh, not that kind of cure. They can't make you better. I mean, they can, but like emotionally.
I would just like to see more dark romantic things. We're living in a really weird and scary world right now. Watching media like this at least makes me feel a little bit more in control. My dream would be to see a gothic horror or Victorian ghost story where a predominantly black cast heads it. Like, I keep thinking about how frustrated I am that there aren't enough movies about us that are about fear or sadness, that aren't based on slavery or racism. It's an important part of our day-to-day lives, but I also want a bit of escapism. And the closest thing I've seen to this aesthetic or outcome is Idlewild.
We called the place church, but it was anything but that.
Here comes the family man.
More like bow tie pimp.
Keep away from my husband.
Or Jingle Jangle.
Jangle, for the last 30 years, you've been promising something sensational. I need more time.
Either come up with the money you've borrowed by Christmas, or show me the revolutionary invention you once promised.
Excellent movies, by the way, but neither of those things are horror. Sinners was beautiful and perfect, but still deals with a very specific type of racism. And the current Interview with the Vampire TV show is so close to what I want, but I just feel like it needs to be pushed a little harder. So I guess this is a request to Ryan Coogler or Jordan Peele or hell, Janelle Monáe, who I'm sure are watching this video with its like 500 views. Can you please make me this movie? Like a beautiful movie with beautiful people doing spooky, beautiful things while being dark and brown and just wearing decadent costumes, making monsters, becoming monsters, escaping monsters. I don't care. I just want this so badly and I've been dreaming of it for years. All right, that's enough of that. Now to ask you, what was your favorite costume detail and why? If not this new movie, what's your favorite take on Frankenstein? There are so many. Do you have a favorite classic horror sci-fi novel that you think deserves an adaptation by someone who is a gigantic fan of the book? Now that I'm done with this one, I need to go watch my friend Matt's video about James Whale, and you should watch it too. If you like this, please check out my other videos. My secret power is never shutting up about anything, so I definitely have quite a few, despite the fact that we have a pretty sporadic upload schedule. Please like and subscribe. Comments make me so happy, and I love chatting with you guys. Link below for stuff in my shop, like accessories and makeup, etc. Thank you so much to my patrons. You guys are so awesome and so patient, and you keep me motivated to discuss more things. Thanks for believing in this silly little channel. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. If you're looking for more content, I'm working on the best way to upload my notes for patrons. If there's anything you want me to elaborate on in the notes, please ask over on Patreon, links in the description. And until next time, be fancy, be adventurous, maybe be a little spooky. Bonnet.